So one of the main questions that I get asked is, what do I take for endurance? So I've got a 2-day event this weekend. So let's get packed up for 2 days staying away. So when you go to an event, not only is it good manners, you're usually asked to pick up your horse poo and take it away. Not every single event is going to have a muck heap. Some of your bigger ones will, but the small ones won't. Doesn't mean you can't have good manners. Old feed bags are fantastic for just bagging up your poo. They're also good for lining your boot in case you get any spills of water or food. So first off, I get on my water. Now it's really important to make sure that you've got your car or your van or your lorry evenly distributed. So I've put a bit each side. Okay, so the next thing that I put in is what I refer to as my endurance box. And this pretty much houses all the bits and bobs that I only ever take and use for endurance. So it basically comes out of the car at the end of an event, goes in my tack room, and then for the next event gets pulled out and chucked in the car. I'm just going to show you a few of the things that I've got in there. So first off, my map case. It's really, really important. You do need to carry a map for endurance. You're not always going to need it. Some people mark really, really well, but most rides will say that you have to carry a map, and that's part of their health and safety regulations. Okay, you get your map when you sign up for a ride. Being a para rider, you probably know that I've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. My joints don't like to stay in their place, so I have a bag full of various supports. You don't need to bring these. I keep all my paperwork in one place. When you're staying away at a ride, you need to corral, unless you're booking stables or staying somewhere locally. When you're corralling your horse, you're basically making a paddock out of electric fencing. You must have a tag for your corral. So this has got my name, my phone number, and which horse is meant to be in the corral, as well as their logbook number as well. Loki then has a matching one, and that goes on his head collar that he wears in the corral. So if he was to escape from it, they can match, not only find my mobile number and call me and find out which horse it is, but they can match him to the corral he should be in. Gloves, really, really important. You might notice that I've kind of mutilated my gloves, and that's because I don't like having the finger bits on them, but at the same time I really don't want to rub, so I just chopped them apart. You probably buy cycling gloves. My camel pack. This is something that my husband bought me after I got desperately dehydrated at Piddle in 2021. It was 36 degrees heat, and I was so worried about Loki that I didn't drink enough. I nearly passed out when I actually finished the ride, and I was really, really ill afterwards. Sometimes you can even stick a block of ice in the middle of it, and then it's lovely and cool down your back. But I do actually really recommend getting one of these for longer rides in the heat. I won't be using it this weekend, but I am just going to keep it safe in the box. Again, as a para rider, I have my own bibs with my own number on, both for myself, my crew, and an escort if I'm riding with one. So they all stay in the box. And like I mentioned before, just my spare bits and bobs that I might need during the ride. So like a spare nose net for Loki. And I've also got to go and get his backup bridle and reins that will just sit in that box in case we have tack malfunction between crew points. Okay. So you might remember I said that this is a 2-day event that I'm going to. So I've packed 2 fleece rugs. Chances are one of them's going to get wet, either because I've put it over a wet horse, or because he's sweated, or it's rained, or if it's a really, really hot event, I might even dunk that rug in water, into cold water, and then put it over him to help actually cool him down and get that heat away from him. So always make sure you've got a dry one as well. So that's my 2. And then I've got a turnout as well. It might rain this weekend and you might need a turnout overnight, or it's just an added layer or a windbreak to keep a horse warm that's just done some hard exercise. Now, you might think I'm not packing particularly efficiently here, but bear with me. So bridles and breastplates. I'm not lucky enough to have any fancy hangers or anything like that. The easiest thing you can do to stop them getting caught up is just hang them over the back of a headrest. stops them getting all tangled up. So I mentioned I don't have a saddle rack or one of these fancy travel ones, but I made one out of rugs, so my nice saddle is protected. I've also put in my basket that's just full of all my corral stuff. Anything like this, boxes, baskets that I can scrounge, I will take them, because you can just chuck stuff in them and it's so easy to get it out of your car when you get to the event. So I've got my saddle rack in there, which I will be using at the vet hold, at the vet gate. And I've got all my electric tape and my energizer, my handles and everything for the corral. Talking about corral, let's get the actual posts. I promise you there is no child in the back seat. Ow! I have a banner up at my vet gate, partly because I used to have all my sponsors on it, but also when I come in, I really struggle to see what's going on around me and differentiate everybody. So when I get into a really busy vet gate, my banner's there waiting and I can go, there's my team. One big thing that I completely underestimated when I started endurance is how many buckets I need to take. So especially when I am staying over, and even more so when we're trying our very first vet gate this time, I need loads and loads of buckets. The reason I got so many is not only do I need buckets to hold my slosh water, which I need multiple ones of those, so both sides of the horse, we can have people grabbing water and cooling him down in the vet gate, but I also want to offer him multiple choices of hydrating buckets. So for Loki, we always give him a plain water, not that he ever touches it, but I always offer it. He then also has a beet water, which is basically a handful of sugar beet into a whole bucket of water and left to soak overnight, or 20 minutes if it's your speedy beet, and it basically becomes soup. Same again, I do another one that involves grass nuts, which actually tends to be his favourite. And then this weekend as well, for the first time, I'm going to be trying Spiller's performance and recovery mash. And whether he has that in his vet gate or not, I'm going to make sure he has it at bedtime to help him ready for the next day's ride, because our vet hold this time is overnight. One thing I really found really useful is when you've got crew points and you want to be having some options of a hydrating bucket at your crew points as well. When you've got somebody disappearing off in their car down country lanes, trying to find the next crew point and beat you there, and be set up ready waiting for you, time's of the essence, especially if your crew, like my husband, aren't particularly horsey and get very stressed by it. Make it up beforehand. But obviously you don't want a bucket sloshing around in your car. These can be picked up for free. Go to your nearest takeaway or a restaurant or anything like that. Generally they have to pay to have these taken away. So even to recycle these or have them taken away, it costs the takeaway to do it. So when I walked into my nearest takeaway and I said, hey, those big mayonnaise buckets and stuff you've got, could I have some? They were more than happy to give me, well, he wanted me to take the lot, but I took about 5 of them. So I'll make up his hydrating feeds in this, bang the lid on, and I don't have to worry about it spilling. When my partner gets to the crew points, all he's got to do is pop the lid, give it to Loki, and then when he's had enough, he can pop the lid on and take it on to the next crew point for me. So even all my grooming brushes and stuff, I'm not going to waste room sticking those in a bag or anything. I've got all these buckets, they may as well just sit in the top of one of them. Stay, goddammit! I mentioned at the beginning about picking up your poo at the events. Really good, just take a poop scoot with you. It makes it so much easier. Don't forget your hat. Many times that people have turned up without a hat, including myself. One really important thing that I nearly forgot, a hoof pick. Probably best you take 2 because they really do like to disappear into the Bermuda Triangle. And the last thing you want is to fail a vet check because of a stone stuck in your horse's hoof.